We have more promising pandemic news tonight in New York. All major indicators are down again. For the first time in a month, new hospitalizations are under 1,000. And the daily number of new deaths dropped to its lowest this month, 335. And this comes as Governor Cuomo outlined a 12-step plan to reopen while preventing another flare-up. It would require isolation facilities for infected patients, the hiring of thousands of contact tracers, and after resuming elective surgeries, hospitals will be required to keep 30% of their beds open. In New York City, Mayor de Blasio announced a new grading system for public schools, and a virtual graduation ceremony is in the works right now for the class of 2020. Confirmed COVID-19 infections in the U.S. have now passed the 1 million mark, the highest national number worldwide. Almost half of those cases were in the tri-state area. So far, 26,092 tri-state residents have died from the disease. News Source Andrew Siff is live in Hell's Kitchen with the latest, including a renewed focus on those using the subway. Andrew?
That's right, Chuck. In just a moment, we're going to tell you more about the subway situation. And also, as you indicated, the mayor with the new grading plan, which impacts 1 million students, including more than 300,000 who attend city high schools like the one behind me here. But as you indicated, a lot about the subways today, including a growing aspect of this pandemic crisis, the homeless situation. Transit workers tasked with cleaning subways have already faced the death of more than 80 colleagues. And now new fears. Homeless on trains potentially spreading COVID-19.
They're coming in close proximity to people who are lacking care, who are lacking treatment, and in most cases are lacking a simple face covering.
The crisis made the Daily News cover today.
The front page is a picture of a subway car filled with homeless people.
And drew a rebuke from the governor.
That is disgusting, what is happening on those subway cars.
As for who's to blame, even though the governor controls the MTA, the Transportation Authority's chief spokeswoman pointed at City Hall. The mayor should get out of his car and into the subways so he can see what's going on and solve the problem of his own making.
I think what you're hearing there is frustration. I don't care about the politics. I don't care who wins or loses. I just want to run a safe, efficient system.
A spokesman for the mayor brushed off the criticism. Earlier in the day, de Blasio suggested the MTA can do more itself by shutting down these 10 stations at the end of key subway lines overnight.
Deep clean the stations, and everyone has to get out of the stations instead of what's happened for years and years, that a homeless person just sits there on the train.
Meanwhile, as the mayor and his team today delivered personal protective equipment to NYCHA residents and staff, his education department announced a long-awaited grading plan for 1 million students. For those in kindergarten through 5th, 2 possible grades: meets standards or needs improvement. Middle school either meets standards, needs improvement, or course in progress, which might mean summer school. And for high school students, they can keep their existing grades, or if they get tagged as course in progress, at least they'll know their GPA is not impacted.
A student won't get a final grade that is lower than any of the grades they got in any one of the marking periods this year.
Yet to be decided whether any of the summer school can take place inside buildings like this one or whether it will be all online. And Governor Cuomo today said he'd decide by the end of this week whether to officially cancel schools statewide for the rest of the year. We're live on the West Side. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
All right, Andrew, thank you for the latest. Now to New Jersey, where the single-day death toll was the highest to date and surpassed that of New York's. The Garden State added 402 new deaths. The state added almost 3,000 new cases, while hospitalizations and ICU admissions were just about flat. But the governor said it's important to take this into consideration when you see the new higher numbers today.
And on this, we should note that this is not, and Judy would want me to say this, is not necessarily a one-day total of 402. We expected that more deaths which occurred over the weekend just had yet to be counted.
Now, the governor says $26.2 million have been raised for the New Jersey Pandemic Relief Fund. And that, of course, includes the money raised in last week's big Jersey for Jersey concert benefit. The governor also extended the grace period for property tax payments that were due on May 1st. They'll now be due on June 1st. America's strongest, honored by America's best. In a first, the Blue Angels joined the Thunderbirds for an aerial tribute to frontline workers. With eyes to the skies, people across New York and New Jersey observed it all from a distance, a safe distance from other spectators. News 4's Gus Rosendale has the story from Hoboken.
Mission name, America Strong. Mission objective, a high-flying salute to tri-state area health workers. A celebration crisscrossing the skies. Healthcare workers took it all in on a rooftop in Newark. A moment to give thanks outside hard-hit Elmhurst Hospital in Queens and several other local medical centers. The Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds joining together for this historical flight. And a chance to reflect for families in Hoboken, taking a break from weeks of working and learning at home.
We feel blessed that we're healthy, and we're able to come out and watch us and thank our healthcare workers.
The Blue Angels and Thunderbirds always attract big crowds, and that was actually a bit of a concern today with the need for social distancing. But here in Hoboken along the Hudson, people seem to follow the rules. We saw a lot of masks and a lot of people keeping 6 feet apart from one another. Indeed, few here lowered their guard as they raised up their cameras and took in the remarkable sight.
Color of the airplanes, you're going to feel the roar. It's going to vibrate you a little bit. The spectacular nature of speed and flight.
Crowds also applauded ambulances just driving by along the Hudson, all on a day where, on the ground and above, the tri-state area and some of the military's best filled the air with a message of thanks. In Hoboken, Gus Rosendale, News 4 New York.
What a sight it was. We put more video of the flyover on NBCNewYork.com and on our NBC4 New York app.
Hospitalizations in Connecticut continue to drop. The total is now more than 1,700. The state's seen a slight uptick in confirmed coronavirus cases to a total of more than 26,000. That's a daily increase of about 300. The total number of deaths is also up slightly to 2,089. During his daily briefing, Governor Ned Lamont stressed the importance of contact tracing as the state begins looking into reopening.
And track and trace sounds a little like Big Brother, but Dr. Carter has reminded me that this is a tried and true method of limiting an infectious spread, and it goes back 100 years.
The Department of Public Health has teamed up with Microsoft to help launch the tracing program.